Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. Also, like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you the other side of the conversation, you are family, and sometimes we share the link. If I share the link and your profile looks like this, please show me this. And if you're not comfortable, you can go back to that. Just know, especially if I've never seen you on here before, I must see your beautiful face. And again, if you're not comfortable, you can blank your screen out. Just know that no one else, not even Donovan, can see you until I bring you up to the big screen. Also, for the comment section, is not that we disagree, it is how we disagree. So let's be as respectful as possible. Same thing for us on the panel. Today, we're going to be talking about a young male, and I put it that way to, hopefully get around the algorithm. Nearly collapsed in court after learning he'll be tried as an adult for the unthinkable. Of course, I'll show you guys a short video and explain to you the details as I know it of the case. But I want to have a conversation with y'all as to how and what we need to do to have that be less and less of the case, because unfortunately, that young man looks like us. Anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with an emphasis on even. Let's see here. Candy, how you doing? Volvo, what's going on? Simo and Brother Troy. So we'll be here about an hour, give or take, probably take. But we'll play it by ear. Donovan, what say you?
Yes, welcome back to you guys to the Demetra K Show. We are honored to have you guys have this discussion with us. I know everybody is watching Dalton, Illinois, and what's going on up there with Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard. She got her weave right on and all her makeup. She said it's going to be a landslide. Get ready to pate hate at the after pate. So all the major news networks in Chicago is covering what is going on in Dalton. She will be blown out, no doubt, no doubt. Do me a favor, you guys. If you guys would like to continue to have these great discussions, there's a way where you guys can contribute and help the show go farther. And there's a scrolling banner at the bottom. You can do that by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and all that other applications you guys want to do. And if that anything, a cup of coffee can't hurt. Demetra doesn't mind because she can go get some tea or something like that, however she's going to do it. Also, we have 3 days left, just 3 days left for the African Diaspora News Channel 20% off annual membership drive. So if you guys want to get in on a good deal, I'm a military veteran, and the most I've ever received is a 10% discount. So if you're getting 20%, that is a major deal to get the knowledge of what is going on around the African diaspora, because things are happening. Because again, think about this, you guys. Funding has been cut under the Trump administration, and there's a lot of African nations said, so what? We're going to go out, we're going to build ourselves. We're going to build up ourselves. So a lot of great things is happening in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Asia. And, we need to be on top of that, because a lot of you guys do travel and stuff. You want to know what great things are happening in these places and what bad things are happening in these places. African Diaspora News Channel is a way to do that. Great graduation gifts, great birthday gifts, great anniversary gifts, especially some of our civil rights era seasoned citizens. That is something that you could give them, and they can just sit back on their nice little chair and watch and, and kind of learn and maybe catch up to what is really actually happening out here. So that's one way you guys can do it. You can also download the African Diaspora News Channel app on Apple Play, the Google Store. Download it, subscribe, and become a member. And you could also buy memberships here on the Demetra K Show. Subscribe, hit that like button. We would really, really appreciate it. I heard about this story about this young man about last Thursday, I think it was. And it was interesting, and it's really unfortunate, the situation of the case. So let's get into it, Demetra. I want to hear what our co-hosts have to say.
Anyway, I don't see any other comments other than Troy's. I'm not sure if anybody else is commenting. It's probably on my end. Do you see any more comments, Donovan? No, okay, good. So yeah, so it's just
everybody's watching what's going on in Dalton. I'm telling you,
and that's fine. Y'all can watch what's going on with the super mayor, but I feel like what I'm about to talk about is a little bit more important than Tiffany. Whether she is reelected to mayor or not, I don't know. Nevertheless, this particular case happened last month on the 26th. Where a teenager by the name of Sean Simpson, was 16 years old, is accused of shooting Jaquavius Dawkins, who was also 16. And he was walking to the store to get his disabled mother some items when witnesses say a black Tesla pulled up, and from out back of the Tesla, Sean was seen, with a pew pew, said something to Jaquavius, and shot him. Eventually, he did die. And he was not apprehended until 2 days later. They said he was getting medical help or treatment. It sounds like maybe he had some behavioral issues when they arrested him. Now, this happened in Gastonia, North Carolina. Now, people are Tank is Jaquavius's name, his nickname, and they said that he was a good kid, never got in any trouble, just a sweet kid, and basically would give you the shirt off his back. But for whatever reason, Sean, who was accused of doing that, allegedly took his life. Now, again, both of these kids, because that's what they are 16. Well, it sounds like today or yesterday or sometime, this kid, Sean, learned that he would be tried as an adult. So I'm going to show y'all the video that I actually saw trending. And I thought, you know what? Out of all the things that I could talk about, I want to talk about this because I want to see if we can come up with a solution for the time that we're here to avoid these things from happening. So here's the video. Here we go.
Real quick, before you hit the video, there was a technical glitch. Now the comments are coming in, and our regular co-hosts are in the chat now. So
okay, because I still only see Troy, so I have to come back in because I don't see. Yeah,
everybody's there. All right.
Okay, so hopefully it'll catch up. So here we go. And I'm not acknowledging y'all because I just don't see anybody past Troy. But hello. But here we go.
Just learned his fate. Sean Simpson, accused of murder, would be tried as an adult and denied bail. Sean was charged last month with the shooting murder of his classmate when he allegedly opened fire from a car at his school rival. The alleged teen killer broke down in court, sobbing and wailing as he learned his fate. A deputy stood beside him to prevent the boy from collapsing. Simpson is believed to be one of the first teenagers to be tried under a new North Carolina law. Enacted in December, the law allows courts to charge 16 and 17-year-olds as adults for certain crimes, including murder.
Okay. So hopefully y'all saw that. The reaction is what really struck me. And I guess that's probably why a lot of people are talking about it and it's trending. Of course, you saw his, and I won't play it again because it's really disturbing. But of course, y'all saw his reaction to learning that he's not going to go home. They denied him bond and they said you will be charged as an adult. So that actual law in North Carolina is called Raise the Age. Says North Carolina refers to the legislation that changed the way states in justice system handle 16 to 17-year-olds who commit crimes. So here's an overview of the evolution. In 2019, juvenile jurisdiction expansion effective December 1st, 2019, North Carolina raised the age of juvenile jurisdiction, meaning that at 16 and 17 years old can be charged with crimes were no longer automatically prosecuted in adult criminal justice system. Instead, they were handled with the juvenile system, which focuses more on rehabilitation. In 2024, House Bill 834 on December 1st, an amendment to raise the age law took effect. This change mandates that 16 and 17-year-olds charged with serious felonies classified as A and E felonies are now automatically tried in adult court. However, there's a provision allowing these cases to be remanded back to juvenile court under certain circumstances. It says this legislative shift aims to balance the need for public safety with the recognition that younger individuals may benefit more from the rehabilitative focus of the juvenile system, especially for less severe offenses. So again, North Carolina has decided to, as they say, raise the age. They're no longer going to be tried in juvenile court unless certain circumstances. They will be tried as an adult, which is what that young man Sean learned, that he was going to be tried as an adult. I don't know what he was thinking. Again, he's alleged to have done that to Tank, have taken his life by, shooting him out of a car window. But I just wondered, like, if he did indeed do that, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think it was a video game? Did you think you were going to go back home and, do all the things that you were doing? Did you not know that it was serious, that if you take somebody's life, like what is going in the minds of a 16-year-old to think that I can do that to somebody? And, I'm shocked to know that I'm going to, not leave here. And of course, it's got to have a jury trial. They said it was witnesses and things that identified him and things like that. But anybody, and I haven't, I have worked in a prison briefly. So I've been there and I visited people there. And I know that it's not somewhere that you want to be, right? I also worked in CYA, which is California Youth Authority. I worked there for a couple of months. And I worked on what they call the medical ward, where a lot of the children, because that's what they are, uh, that were going to age out and go to the adult prison, they were on what you call, the watch, basically, because they were going to go and they didn't want to go to the adult prison because they knew, for the most part, that they would be victimized in a whole host of ways. And so they would try to sometimes take their lives. It was a very sad reality because they were in there for a whole host of things. And it just made me wonder the whole time that I worked there, is like, did any of this ever go through your mind that like you would pay the consequences? And this is like youth prison. This wasn't juvenile hall where or little youth camp, reform school. It was prison for kids, essentially. And so obviously maybe through his mind, he's thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go, and if I found guilty, I'm no longer a kid. That's why I put boys to men on the title, because they're moved from boys to men. Now, this is my thing. I'm not sure what the penalty is. I don't know if it's a death penalty. In North Carolina, I would imagine it probably is. I've always said that I don't believe that children should spend the rest of their lives in jail or prison because when they're 36, they may not think the same as they did when they're 16. But I also would imagine there's a little bit of racism maybe involved in that, because we know disproportionately it's our boys and men and women are in those prisons, right? So we also know that a lot of these prisons, even though they say they're not, if you do your research, they are private. They are private to some degree, right? And they get a return on their investment when they have those beds filled. So if you could try a child as an adult and send him to prison for the rest of his life, you don't have to worry about that bed. And listen, I'm not absolving him of what he did. I'm just saying that I if I had to guess, and I know a little bit about the prison system, that is probably a little bit on the racist side why they changed that law. I don't know if these legislators envision putting their boys in, trying them as adults. I'm not saying they don't, but who are they really thinking about when they're making these laws? So I want to ask you guys, what can we do to stop this from happening? Our boys going into the system as boys for the things that they have done or accused of doing, and eventually being tried as adults and going to the male prison. And you guys know the rest of the story. How can we avoid that? And I'm going to check out and come back because I can't see the comments.
Okay, that means I get to run the show. All right, we're going to get into it. No, let me just start by saying this, and we'll be here when you come back. Let me start by saying this. When you go into prison, people self-segregate. As some of as you guys know, some of you guys have relatives that have been in prisons like that. People just stay with their own kind. The Mexicans go with the Mexicans, the blacks go with the blacks, the whites go with the whites, and you just self-segregate. Now, me, if I ever go to prison, I'm going in as a double Muslim. For those of you guys that don't know what a double Muslim is, that is a person who cannot wait to see Allah and wants to take you with him. Okay? So, but people separate. And I think that's just human nature that we do that. That's why it's kind of not realistic when people come out and they say, well, why can't we help the Mexicans protest and we do this and we do that? It's just human nature. People of the same kind, birds of a feather flock together, right? That's where we're at with that. Can you see the comments now? Okay, great. In regards to this young man, and this is not an isolated story. How many of you guys out there either have family members or friends and loved ones whose young children, be it a female, and there's a lot of females, there's a lot of females going to jail under some BS, getting felonies for shoplifting, weed and beauty products. I mean, you can see it on YouTube all the time. But we know these young people are putting themselves in positions that they should be putting themselves in. Now, when it pertains to a weapon of destruction, like a gun, what I can never understand with young people, a video game is a video game. But we know in the real world, when you use a weapon of destruction, regardless, even if it's even in self-defense, you're going to be locked down for a minute in a self-defense case, unless you're the other guy, because we know Ahmaud Arbery, we know how that went. But in usual cases like that, you're going to be locked down until they figure out what went on and whatever, and you might deal with liability. Here in California, I could defend my house. Well, let me break this down in California. California, if unless somebody is directly trying to kill you, and you can prove that if you survive, they could come into your house, walk out with your TV, and if you shoot them, that is unreasonable force because your life wasn't in danger. So the generality rule is let them rob you, and hopefully the police will catch up with them. But it's just crazy. But our young people, why can't they understand the difference between reality and video game virtual reality? If you use a gun in this society, and I'm not trying to chastise anybody, if you use a gun, a weapon of destruction in this society, people are going to get hurt. And if people get hurt, you are going to pay the price. Thus, you should never pick up a gun unless you are really going to use it. And I'm going to say this, and I know it's unpopular, and I know you ladies don't want to hear it, but it's true. Where are the fathers? Where are the uncles? Where is the grandfather? Where is the positive boyfriend? Because I will tell you what, my uncles told me if they ever saw me with my hand on a gun as a young man, they would kill me. I just don't understand how you've got grown men that don't give a damn about their nephews, their sons, and so on, so on. So I got great nephews right now, and I tell their mother all the time, bring those boys over here so I can show them this. Bring those boys so they can hear it, and that they know somebody cares about them outside of their mothers and fathers and whatever. Yeah, your uncle cares about you too. And if you do that, I'm gonna kill you. Okay. So I know it's unpopular, but where are the positive men? And when I see young boys in this situation, I blame the men in the community. That's just me. I blame the men in this community because that kid basically threw his life away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see a lot of y'all. And hello, and I'm gonna finish getting down there. 48 TCO, how you doing? Roz, what's going on with you? Brother Reggie, I'm glad you up and with us. I see a lot of y'all talking about conflict resolution and mental health and things like that. Yeah, that's definitely something that needs to go on, because not even just boys, but kids in general, they don't have coping skills. They're not being taught coping skills. They're not being told no is not to hurt your feelings. No is because I said no right now, or you can't, or whatever the case is. And so we also don't teach emotional intelligence. And a lot of times, and my dad used to always say that you can't teach what you don't know. And that's because a lot of times parents don't have emotional intelligence. Parents don't have coping skills, right? You see the parents wilding out and acting before they think and things like that. So unfortunately, the children are not learning that. And TG says, unfortunately, many kids have horrible upbringings, are lost before they even start to live. Yeah. Leon says, though, the kids whose life he took won't have the chance to do anything. Are these laws enforced equally? No, but we can't keep saying Black Lives Matter, keep killing each other over nonsense. I totally agree with you. Because at what point did you think you could do that and go home, and go about your life? And hey, I just took a little kid's life, and somebody said that the one who cares, I think it was you, where he said the grandmother said he was being bullied. So not only is he being bullied, but somebody takes his life. At what point do you figure out that, okay, if I don't like this kid, I just leave him alone? But not only do you beat him up, but you take his life. So yeah, these conversations need to be had. But he's found guilty, and I saw and I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I remember that, where those boys were given 360 years for some nonsense that they participated in. And let's see here. Yes, Reggie says condolences to the young man's family. That was killed. Yeah, and it's sad all the way around. Brother Don, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. 48 TCO, he says he alive, so I'm right. Yes, he did. Allegedly, that's the allegation. All right, let me skip down a little bit so I can catch up. Jason, how you doing? Says, I'm pro-black, not pro N-word. Come on now. Key 5, how you doing? Says, just got here. How y'all doing? Doing well. Antoine, how you doing? Says, 13th Amendment slavery and involuntary servitude is abolished except for punishment for a crime. Consequently, black bodies are mass incarcerated. Slavery by another name. You better come on with the history lesson in the Constitution, right? They say that's part of the Constitution. That's for black people. Yes, Sunlight says, Donovan, positive boyfriend. He said a mouthful. Let's see here. Black America, how you doing? Says, what's going on the pro-black side of YouTube today? Everything and everything all at the same time. And how you doing, DT? How you doing? Says, the women aren't choosing positive men to have kids with, so what do you expect? Oh, y'all gonna get me started. Jason says, my mother successfully raised 7 boys, no excuse. Hey, brother Jonelle, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sunlight says, meditation and nap time in public school should be mandatory from K to 12. It should be mandatory for adults too. I need a nap. I'm not a napper. I don't take naps. If I take a nap, it's because it's not on purpose. I sat down and fell out. Edward Snowden, is that you? How you doing? He says that fool did a drive-by from an Uber. Was it an Uber? Because they said it was a Tesla. I sure hope it wasn't, but good Lord. Praying for Alicia. How you doing? Says gentle parenting can also be neglect. I totally agree with you. And people take that gentle parenting to the next level. Some people take it to, I don't have to do nothing. Just let them just decide who they're going to be. Don't intervene. Just allow them to flourish. And if they go rightward, great. If they don't, then we're just going to let them evolve. It sounds like the parents are saying, we're not going to tell them they're a boy. We're just going to let them decide. Let's see here. And 48 TCO says he bullied him and took his life. The safest place for him is to be in jail. My God. And the sad thing about it is you're going to get back there and you're not going to have all the rah-rah for the people you'll be locked up with, There he says personal accountability and responsible for all of their words and actions. Then they can look forward to being subjugated. Oops. It says the 365 24/7 F-ish of these white fake what? Okay, got you. You said a whole lot of stuff I have to really think about. GP, how you doing? Since just got here a few minutes ago, not being combative, but as a guy that's done time in the county jail, from what I've seen, white inmates usually have the hardest time surviving while behind bars. I've heard that as well. Craig,
they have a hard time in boot camp too. I mean, when those drill instructors start yelling at them and these guys are moist or, they're used to being, mommy, I said no, talking back to their mom, these guys I remember when the first night of boot camp, I'm sitting in and people are still coming in. I saw grown men. I was 17 when I came in. So to me, grown men was like 23, 24. They were crying in their bunks. Like, what did I do? It was embarrassing.
Yeah. Brother Jodell, you ain't lying. You said, as Beretta says, if you can't do the time, then don't do the crime.
Who sang that theme song? Trivia?
I forget.
Oh my gosh, you should be horsewhipped. Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr.
Okay. R.I.P. to him. Says our children, especially male children, need real coaching and examples of manhood. Yep. And I'm going to just let the men say it. Yeah, Sunlight, I don't know if he was in an Uber or not. Was you being serious? And DT says gentle parenting is just being lazy. Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Current affairs with Sarah.
I know you guys haven't heard this from me in a while, and I know Sunlight's going to get on me. But this situation, when I see young men throwing their lives away, I don't care if they come from a single mother. This is the men's fault. He has an uncle. He has a grandfather. There's all kinds of positivity or males that should have been there. I know you can't control everything, but it's men's fault in this situation, the men that are around in his circle of group.
I'll get into that in just a second. Current affairs with Sarah. How you doing if I didn't already? He says health interventions. I'm sorry, we need a coping mechanism and mental health intervention in Black communities, or he says our Black communities need to stop pretending that mental health is not an issue when mental health is a big issue. It really is. You can't solve everything with Robitussin. You know what I mean? 48 TCL says, if my sons act back-ish crazy, I'm going to tell them before they daddy do. They don't want Big J on that's what I'm talking about, Jason. He says we need to bring back a whoopings. Yeah, I say yes and no. More threads. Thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for that. And how you doing, by the way? It says unpopular opinion. The education system make it easy for them to do crime now. It says I taught 10-year-olds. I taught 10 years rather. Can I call in briefly? Okay. If okay, not today. Yes. That's all right. My reading is completely off today. I'm jet lag. I guess tired or something. I don't know. Maybe I just need to be hooked on
It's
farming. But
jet
I'm gonna share
lag.
the link in
It's
just a
jet lag.
minute. For you more threads. I'm sharing the link in just a second. Let me get the comments down. Okay, so y'all said Sammy Big Rich, how you doing? Says the theme song, Nicole Jack was sung by Sammy Davis Jr. Okay, got you. Carrie, how you doing? DT says you can't blame it on men. I can't blame it on men only. That's not cool and not fair. It's how is it my fault if some kid that's not mine wild out? Mexico, how you doing? It says there's always enough blame to go around after the fact. Okay, so let me say this, and then I'm going to share the link for more threads. And anybody wants to come up here, give a couple of minutes of your opinion on this, I'd love to hear. And Jesse, I saw you sent the link. Was I supposed to be on your show today? What we gonna talk about? Y'all got to get me early because after I do this, I'm spent. I'm like, as y'all can see, I can hardly read. So yes, I agree with you. I don't think it's just the men's fault. I think it's a combination of things. Because it takes single moms and single dads can raise children, but they're better off, I would imagine, in an intact family. So it's just not the father. A lot of times, mama got her issues. She's wayward. She don't want the father around and involved. It's a lot. So it's both of their faults. But as I tell my nieces and nephews who have children, they're my great nieces and nephews. I said our job as parents is to not traumatize our children. We're all traumatized, all of us, whether we're small or big or small or a lot or whatever. We've all been traumatized, and our job is not continue the traumatization to our children, right? So whatever that is, and a lot of times as parents, we need some mental help. We need to go sit on somebody's couch and have a conversation because oftentimes we bring the stuff from our childhood and we think, well, because I was raised that way, then I'm gonna raise my child this way. And this, that, and the other is like, well, yeah, your mom and daddy took a 2x4 upside your head. Was that right? You know what I mean? So we have to figure out different ways of doing it. Now, as I said, I agree with whoopings and I don't, because I whooped children. I whooped my daughter a few times and my nieces and nephews a few times as needed. I wasn't one of those parents that just wilding out every time I'm mad. I just, haul off and pop them. But I also believe that with the grandchildren, I don't have any grandchildren, but great nieces and nephews, I'm like, stop whooping them kids. You used to whoop us. I'm like, as they say, when you know better, you do better, right? We should parent with our hands more so than our minds. Now, I'm not above a butt whooping, but I think it should be at the absolute necessary. But if you are always whooping your children, they become immune to that. And then they get out there in them streets and you made them tough, don't nothing phase them. They are emotionally devoid of any feelings because in a sense, you beat that out of them. You've made them numb. So we have to get to the point as parents to where we are having conversations with our children and we are exacting consequences that are not physical violence. But
So basically,
yes, it takes two people. It's not just the man's fault.
Yeah. So you're saying that whipping them too much, they grow a callus on their ass and it become immune to the whippings and stuff.
It's not even a callus on their bodies. It's a callus in their minds and their hearts.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
become numb to it. There's a lot of children like, I'm going to get a whooping. It's going to last 5 minutes is a long time. But 2 minutes or so, and then I'm going to be right back at it.
That was me. That was me, my mom. She knew I was willing to take the ass whipping just to stay out late. It's like, well, a minute past 10, I'm still going to, the ass whooping ain't going to change. So let me just go ahead and stay till late, whatever. But no, nobody's responsible for kids that is not in their orbit. When I say that it's the man's fault in this situation, it's the men around that particular child's environment or family structure. You cannot tell me every dude that is around that child, that especially that male child, is negative. You just can't tell me that. There's got to be somebody that should have told him, hey, you do this, this is what's going to happen. I mean, like Demetra says, I can let me say it better. For me, if it wasn't for just the words of certain male individuals around me to tell me right and wrong, I'd have a different outcome.
And Brother Janelle, you're absolutely right. Says our problem is our males mainly have more negative influence than constructive influence avenues and mentors. The male children in the Nation of Islam get self-discipline training, mentors, their minds guided to constructive things such as self-defense. It takes us as males to care for our youth. You're absolutely right. And that is something that the nation does, cultivate the children in that way, especially the men, and I don't think we understand too that we're raising boys to be men. We should be, but we've kind of gotten away from that. A lot of these men or boys, they're coddled. They, don't want them to work hard and do nothing because you listen to them whine. I don't want to take out the trash, and all that other stuff. It's like, first of all, I didn't ask you. I'm telling you, that wasn't a request. That was a demand, a command, right? So yes, they have to be raised up in that way. Again, my father, since he was 19, in the Nation of Islam, born in the Nation of Islam, and he raised my siblings and I that way. As I said, I'm almost 54 years old. I don't talk back to my dad. My dad tells me to do something is yes, sir. Okay, daddy. Even to this day, and my brother too. My brother's older than me. We don't. Well, I'm grown. You don't be telling me. Yes, daddy. Okay, daddy. Even if I don't like it, okay, daddy. Because that's how we were brought up. S. Williams says, today's Black music culture gives young Black males, especially instruction to do what he did. Now, that is true. However, as I always say, what's outside of the home should not be more influential than you. Yes, and it's going to be impossible, I would say, I don't know, unless you lock your kids in the basement, to keep them away from that stuff. But then you educate them. You educate them and say, hey, the opposite side of this is this. That ain't real life. And to teach them about who's pulling the strings with that music and why they're putting it out there. They're putting this, honestly, and some of that music is like putting a loaded pew-pew in the hands of the youth and saying, not in the sense, go, do it, but you listen to that over and over and over and over again, it becomes glorified and you become desensitized. And it's not a big deal. I go out there and shoot out the back of a Tesla and go live my life. So, yeah. Leon says, in my opinion, this is a lack of emotional maturity. The kid understood what he was doing. His only mistake was thinking that he would be tried as a juvenile. This is a lack of accountability. Yeah, I mean, even as a juvenile, there's no saying that he was going to get out in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? DT says, I give back by mentoring the young brothers that come on my job sites. I'm not reaching back to a King Von. Y'all look him up. Says easy way to end up in the ground. Yeah, some of these kids are very just devoid. They're like little Michael Myers out there, right? They have no feelings, no emotion, and they liken King Von to a serial killer, and we need to get to the root of why are they like that? How do we make children that are devoid of any compassion, emotion, anything to where that's okay? Uncle G, how you doing? Says too little family support. Belief or trust is part of the problem too. Maureen, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. JJ says many kids I grew up with were not even afraid of death. Yeah, they're desensitized. And we always heard that it would get to this point. Brother Reggie says I got whoopings and put on punishment. Yeah, I got a little of both, but not too many whoopings. Brother Donnell says we can't allow guns, degenerative music, ignorance to continue. Got you, Donovan. To dominate the minds of our youth and then be amazed at our self-destruction. We must understand that choice brings consequences. Let me skip down and I'm going to bring up more threads. Raj, you say we have to examine why we are whipping the child. Are we correcting the behavior? Or are we doing it out of anger or frustration? Bingo. Bingo. Jason says there's no excuse. My mother raised 10 kids by herself, 7 boys and 3 girls. I agree with you. All right, so I'm going to put the link up, inviting you all to come on here. And let's see. I want to hear from more threads, and then everybody else can come up since she asked first. So I'm going to put this in here. Please come up. Have your comments be brief. Then I'll click you down. That way everybody else who wants to come up here and speak a word or two can come up. Just know that, I need to see your face if I've never seen you on here before. And please be mindful of the things that we say, so that, I don't get in trouble here. Here we go. So it's up. Jason says a lot of parents do not care about the kids. They care about themselves. They don't want to grow up. They want to be their kids' age. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's why I always say I'm the matriarch of my family. Hey, average logical thinker, how you doing? I'm the matriarch of my family, and I was telling my daughter that the other day or somebody, and she's like, "Are you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm the oldest woman in our immediate family." I said, "Old is not old." Okay, so I have to move accordingly. I can't be out here city girl and all that other stuff because the young ones are looking up to me. I have to be that voice of authority. I have to be that example of what to do, what not to do, how to carry yourself as a woman. Even to my nephews, speak life and stuff into them, and just a whole lot of things. But I can't do that being the matriarch of my family, doing what they do. Where the party at? Where the club at? Let me wear that little bitty outfit. That's gonna look good on me. Nah, you know, put some clothes on. I say that a lot. Ladies, when you get to be a certain age, you should put clothes on anyway. But I'm just saying, the hot girl and leave that alone. Put some clothes on. You ain't got to be naked everywhere. I was at the airport. Everywhere I went, from California to Houston, I seen, women, speaking to the sisters. Some of y'all out there look like you have on drawers, just like you just got out the bed and in your panties and just put on some slides and some tennis shoes and just walked around town. It's like, when did that become an outfit? That you walk around in panties. I know they probably bed shorts, but bed shorts, not shorts for Walmart in the plane and all about the town. Then you got a jug. I go to the gym. I don't even like to see it in the gym, but at least at the gym, okay, you there, you working out. But I'm like, you ain't got to have everybody all up in your business. Put some clothes on. I know a lot of sisters, you got it. You got the pumps and the bump. I know you got, but at some point in time, when do you grow up? We got to stop being the Peter Pan of women. Peter Pan refused to grow up. We got to stop doing that. So anyway, I'm gonna bring up more threads. Hey,
hey, y'all. Can you hear me?
we can
Really
hear
well?
you. How you doing?
Okay. Hey. Just this is probably an unpopular opinion. I'm gonna try to. It's gonna be all over the place because I'm rushing. But no, I don't believe in blaming one or two people or parents and it's pretty much integration, and you can correct me, D, because you have a very well-rounded opinion. But at the same time, it's so many things to consider here: family, where they live, what they may have seen growing up, all those things. But let me be clear: I was raised by a single mother. My dad died when I was young. But, truthfully, I did have a granddad who passed away that stepped up. I had plenty of uncles and all that. But even as a single parent, my mother was very aware of what I was doing. She made sure that I was also aware that there were consequences to everything. Now, did she whip me like that? I'll be honest with you. Not really, because she was beaten a lot growing up. My granddad, that's what they knew. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. They beat, you gonna listen or I'm gonna beat you. That's just what was passed down. So she did something a little different with me, you know? Now she did whip me a few times, maybe on one hand, but not too much. But I understood that if my mother had to get off work to come to the school and I didn't have an assembly or I didn't have a cough or I wasn't sick, it was on and popping. No, we're not doing none of that. Okay? You're going to get yourself together. Okay? Oh, I'm going to help you. And she didn't have to check me out, just, to get me together. It's the bathroom or the hallway, whatever, so, but teaching for 10 years, because I was an educator for 10 years, things have changed. And I had to realize that it's not just their family. With integration, they really screwed us over. And that's one of the reasons I don't teach anymore, because of how they treat our Black children. Now, I was a SPED teacher, but I was spared with behavioral issues. Behavioral issues are now considered special education, where they pretty much push the young Black boys and Black girls off into one classroom because, quote unquote, behavior is now a diagnosis, supposedly. So that was so that the Black kids can kind of be away. Now they do have what we call beach, where the smart kids, which is mostly white, and they sprinkle in a few of us who get into those smart classes, as we used to call them. But the majority of the SPED classes, those weren't, as what people would say, kids in a wheelchair or anything like that. Over half of your class is kids who are Black and behavioral issues, who on medication. Now, I say all that to say the school sets them up for failure. I had students where they came up with something with a behavioral plan. In that behavior plan, that's usually, I would write mine because I was sped, but we also had white teachers who were quote unquote specialists, and they would do a behavior plan. So if your child had a behavioral issue, they would get, I'm serious, like they would say, you have 5 minutes to make a good decision. That's your first strike. You don't get written up. But the second time, we're going to call your parents and we're going to leave a message and make you tell your parents what you do. That's stupid stuff like that. And I had one student, I'm not going to call his name because I don't want to do that. But this child was very destructive. And I'm not built for that. Okay, I'm not that old, but I'm with all the smoke. And he had a tendency to tear up everything in the room. And I would get mad at him, but I couldn't be mad at him because his parents and the other teachers, they allowed that. So when I got to him and I got him that particular year, they were like, boy, nobody wants him. He gonna rip up everything off your door. He gonna throw, and he was very destructive. But he did it to me once. And I said, look, kid, I'm gonna let you slide this time, okay? Because I didn't like writing them up. Because let's be clear, if you write them up and they have a certain number, write-ups by third grade, they start building prisons for them.
Yeah,
They
let
don't.
me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, but I'm going to cut you off. I put a meme up. It's funny that we're talking about this subject, but I put a meme up and somebody had said, and I know that they're children, so you don't want to do that, but a lot of people are starting to say that teachers should wear body cams like policemen so that the parents can actually see the behavior of their children. As a former teacher, if you're still a teacher, what do you think about, like, I know it's not going to happen, but would you like say that would be a great idea? Because I think a lot of the problems is even when you report the child, to the parent that there's a behavioral issue, whatever, a lot of the parents don't believe you.
That is true, Donovan, and that's what I was going to say. I was getting to it. They just set them up for failure. Like, for example, they coddle them. With that kid, I'm using him for example. He tore up. I mean, when I say that dude was destructive, he would go in different classes and just tear it up. I mean, when he got mad, if you told him no and he couldn't have something, he would tear it up. So the teachers didn't want him, so they pawned him off on me, of course. And I only teach Black kids. I know I can say that now. I don't do the privilege thing. I like to go into the rough parts. And so, you know what I did? I went to his desk and rip up everything off his desk, throw out everything, and I said, now you pick it up. You pick it up. Because I needed him to see that there's consequences for your behavior. He had already done that to the art teacher, and she was white, so she was crying, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she wrote him up. Now, they had written him up 10 times. I'm telling you, this is what? School starts August. This was probably September. So they already had a prison bed coming for him. They bill based on how many times you're written up. So his mother, is sad to say, like Donovan said, when you call her, she would say, but she didn't know no better. Post-traumatic slave syndrome, she don't know. She would say, well, he got a behavior plan, which I wrote that for. And I would tell her, I tried to talk to them because I was Black. I understood. I said, listen, they're setting your child up. If he gets older, he's in fourth grade now. If he goes and gets a job as a teenager, he can't read because they keep skipping him up. See, there's no accountability. For me, I don't have kids, but if my kid can't read, I'm not skipping them all the way to high school and you can't read. Like, what are you doing? That's going to send him to crime. But because they want to soothe the parents, and it looks like they're soothing the parents, that's what happens, but they're not. They're setting you up. If he can't read, that's going to make him most likely to commit crime. I've seen it. I've seen so many students die because just like this child right here, they don't understand that I can't do something. They don't understand no. So with that being said, they also have IEPs. They have behavior plans. These things are supposed to help the child, but they're not. Anytime you tear up a room or you be destructive because you're told no, you don't have coping skills. The parents don't have coping skills. They will come and have to call the cops on them all the time. So with integration, I say this loose, honestly, that was one of the worst things. They need to see Black teachers. Kids also treat Black teachers differently as well. When they know that you love them, and like I would discipline, I'm very much a disciplinarian, but it was out of love. So when I'd rip up everything off his desk, yeah, I was hot. because I had done decorated my door and everything, but I needed him to understand this is what happens because his mother, she wasn't teaching him responsibility. When he would do that stuff, we call her. When he's written up after the fourth time, then she calls the school district and the school district backs down because you have an IEP. So now you're dealing with law. So that's what I'm saying. But look, he never tore up anything in my classroom for the rest of the year. He may have done it for everybody else, but and I made it clear, every time you do it, I'm gonna tear up your shit. Excuse me. So you can understand that you cannot go around doing this to people and there's no consequence. And for this child right here, I don't know him. I've never seen him other than now. But this is a child that I can tell a mile away as a teacher. He was not taught. Well, he probably was taught by somebody, but you can see that there's no consequence somewhere with him. And I would try to tell those parents, you do realize we're dealing with integration. You got all these white teachers making, decisions on your child. They don't understand our children. And my mother, I leave with this. My mother and my dad used to tell me, trouble is so easy to get into, but it is so hard. It's so hard to get out. And this baby, you could tell he wasn't expecting a consequence like that because he literally collapsed. So he's probably going to be in there for a minute. They're going to throw the book at him. And unfortunately, he's going to be somebody's girlfriend. I was a caseworker for the prison. That's nowhere for anybody to be. They're going to eat him alive because somewhere down the line, he thought it was okay. Or usually, it's not that they think it's okay. I take that back. They're not used to consequences. They go easy on them. And in life, and when you get older, there's consequences. You're either going to teach your child or the world will teach your child.
And I think too, and I'm seeing you guys' comments. The other thing is you have a lot of these parents that's not my baby, not my baby. Or
Yeah.
you ain't talking about my baby.
Mm-hmm.
You must be talking about, and then it's like, no, it is your baby. It is your baby that's cutting up because, I know a lot of teachers as well, and a lot of them just barely making it. Like some of them want to tap out before they even retire, because they are dealing with the behavior of the child. And I don't think the parents nor the school realizes that's not my job as a teacher to be disciplining your child. My job is to teach them the ABCs and all the stuff they spoke. Sit down, Johnny. I see you, Sarah. Mm-hmm. Sit down, Johnny. Be quiet, Susie. That ain't my job. But a lot of teachers spend most of the day doing that. Yeah. And then I'll give you a perfect example. My sister, she's a teacher. I think she teaches 3rd or 5th grade, 1 or 2, probably both here and there. She has a female student that comes to school damn near every day in something inappropriate.
Yeah, we have that too.
My sister sends her to the office. She's called her mom, and the mom like, y'all, you tripping, that ain't nothing wrong with that. So one time the vice principal was a man. Yes, he wasn't aware of all of that. And she said there's a lot of male teachers is like, oh no, I don't even want to be around her in the same room, whatever. Mm-hmm. So the vice principal saw her and said, oh no, ma'am. No, ma'am. And made her go to the office, said she cannot leave this office until her mama bring her some clothes or whatever. Because I guess the pants she had on was real ripped up. Mm-hmm. You could see everything, But so then my sister said she hears the principal or the vice principal ask the student, has anybody ever had this conversation with you before? And she says, no. My sister says she's lying. There's all kind of paperwork, this, that, and the other calls to the mama. And that's a repeated thing. So I asked my sister, I said, what point are there some consequences? Not maybe for the little girl because she's not buying her clothes. Yeah. The mama is. What do you do? We said stop sending your child to school like that. Because what happens is, some man teacher gonna get, not that he's gonna be doing anything, but he might look too long. Oh, he looked at me. Then, the rest is history. So it's a lot. Administration, they're allowing these parents to send their kids to school like that. Not get at the end of the day is money. They get money for every time for every child that's in school. But it's like, at what point do you risk the teacher's livelihood? Yeah. So,
and I just feel like, I have a different way. I think that integration really ruined us. And they're set up for failure, a lot of them, because they don't understand that there's a consequence. Like I said, most of the students I had, they literally, if you tell them something, most of the time their parents would call the school district because they know they had an IEP, and the school don't really want to deal with IEP. So, they either call the district or they tell you their kid didn't do nothing. It's just always something. So it's just unfortunate that this baby, because that's what he is, that's what he's gonna be, you know, that he's lost his life because they're gonna throw the book at him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you got anything else to say before
That's
I
it.
let Sarah take the mic?
No, that's it. Go ahead. I'm getting down.
All right, thank you, sweetheart. Come
All right,
back and see us
bye.
again.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Miss Sarah, how you Daryl, you wow. You wow. I want to let you know you wow. But Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
No, I'm well, no complaints. What's on your mind?
um, he, to me, about this case, he needs to realize that you're not them folks. I mean, even though they're not gonna charge you as a juvenile, they're gonna charge you as an adult. In the system in this country, you're still a black man, and they're gonna look at you as an adult. Do you think they look at when the school shooting happened in Newtown? You know how they pity Adam Lanza. Oh, he's it. They treat him like a child. Let's say Adam Lanza was black. They're gonna treat him like he's an adult. Like, oh, the system is against black men. Another thing is mental health is an issue in our community, and I think we need to stop brushing it under the rug. It's a big issue. There's no such thing as praying the mental health away. We need intervention. Coping mechanism is a big issue in the black community.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And I love that you hit on, praying it away. Prayer is good, but you need action
It's
too.
good. You need action. Like you see
Mhm.
how kids online they're like putting hands on a teacher. Back in when I was in school, like you can't put a hand on a teacher; they're gonna expel you. And especially where I'm from, in especially where I'm from Africa, you put your hand on a teacher, that's game over. That teacher's gonna beat you. They don't care. So that young man, I mean, the book is gonna be thrown at him, and this is a time for young people to reflect that we need to start teaching our youth about coping mechanism, anger issues, and especially adults like us. We're still struggling with that to this day.
No, absolutely. And I like what you said too. Back in the day, you put your hands on the teacher, it was a wrap. Nowadays, you put your hand on the teacher. Well, we need to sit down and talk to them and see what's going on through their mind. And the poor teacher can't even defend. I'm not saying they should go fist to cuss, but it's like, at what point do I defend myself? I just let you keep slapping and hitting me and punching me. And I know a teacher that tapped out. It's like, nah, because he got punched in his face. And it put him on, put him out of work. And it wasn't just, this was like a giant teenager that did this to him. He wasn't expecting that. So it's like, at what point do I just show up and just keep, flinching because I'm afraid somebody gonna put their hands on me because I'm trying to tell them sit down, be quiet, let's crack the book open or whatever the case is. But in a lot of cases, they have just given the power to the students. It's like because they want that check. They can't keep putting the kids out of school because the schools get money from the kids being in school. So, and yes,
I
Antoine, job
couldn't.
corps does still exist.
I mean, I think another thing is they taking programs out of the community too, like career technical program for the kids to be active. Because the more they're active, doing jobs and everything, being involved, they're less likely to get in trouble. They know where to hit the kids to be in trouble by taking resource from the community. They've been doing this for years.
Yeah,
I've
well,
seen it.
you do realize why they took the main reason why they took vocational out of the high schools and stuff, especially in the inner cities, because it takes away the resource of a young black man and young black woman to open a business and go on and work for themselves. That's one of the main reasons they took that out, because they don't want us to be able to fend for ourselves, and that's why it's gone. It isn't necessarily, oh, the black woman just left and do it. Oh, it ain't single motherhood. when they saw that young black men were using
Right.
vocational and opening auto shops, carpentry, whatever that vocation was, they put a stop to it. It's the same reason why we don't have universal health care in this country. They would rather not give us universal health care as Americans as a whole so that black people don't benefit.
And the thing is, like, not every kid, because I asked this kid, what do you want to do when you grow up? A 12-year-old. Oh, I want to be an NBA player. And I'm like, come on, man. There's a lot of kids in line to be an NBA player. We don't need NBA players. We don't need rappers. We need people in the community who are carpenters, who are even electricians. We don't need those ones. Those ones can be pushed aside right now.
Absolutely. Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson talked about that, and especially in today's time. Yeah, the rapper, I guess, is cool and NBA player, but that's a very small percentage that you will even become any one of those. Like I said, where's the carpenters, the electricians, the mechanics, and those things we still need. Hey, Facts Not Feeling, how you doing? Yeah, we still need those things. So, we have to talk along those lines. And yeah, a lot of that stuff was taken out of school, probably due to, racism and things like that. But, my daddy's a mechanic. He taught my brother how to fix cars. Your mama, your grandmamas, they baked and cooked and, all kind of things. See, that's the problem too. We don't pass those skills down. And a lot of times the kid don't want to learn it. But you know what, though? In a lot of other cultures, they like, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what you gonna learn it. You're gonna learn how to chop up this cow. You're gonna learn how to put it in the shelf here. So when people come in and buy it, then you're gonna buy all this meat. You're gonna learn how to fix, cars or how build how you're gonna learn it. I don't care what you see. The other thing is, I'm not saying you shouldn't be interested in what your child want to do, but if you have something you know how to do, at least teach it to them. Like I tell you all the time, my daughter, if I was one day to say I'm not gonna do, I can't do this today. Can you sit down in my place? She could do it. Because what says is that I'm up here, and saying things or teaching things or whatever the case is, and I haven't taught my daughter to do it. So if they never
Right.
have that stuff in school, we have to be able to teach that from the home because we used to do that.
All right.
And,
I'm gonna let someone get on.
yeah,
Huh?
let me address this question here by DT. Says,
Okay,
you'll
Sarah, thank you. Come back and
yeah,
see us again.
yes, please.
I will.
Great conversation. DT says, Yule, that is incorrect. They took vocation out of the school because it's cheaper to outsource or use illegal labor. Stop race baiting. How is taking vocational school cheaper to outsource? I didn't realize when we were in school, we were in some kind of sweatshop. I mean, yeah, am I losing something in that, Demetra, in this question? DT, could you kind of explain that?
Let me
How
see,
is
where
it
does it say?
cheaper to outsource
Okay,
vocation
gotta
in
stop.
school?
Okay, wait. Which question? Let's see.
It's at 406.
It says, okay, they took vocation out of the schools because it's cheaper to outsource
Or
or illegal
use
or use
illegal
illegal
labor.
labor. Stop the race baiting.
How?
I think the truth is somewhere in all of that. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of truth in all of it, and a lot of it maybe they just couldn't afford it. When I was going to school, yeah, you had ROP, you learned auto mechanic, wood shop, home ec. They had it all. You can even get a cosmetology. I see GP a cosmetology degree in high school, right? So I don't know, maybe it has something to do with money, but I think a lot of that is true. There's no absolutes. I think there's the truth is somewhere in all of that. So let me get GP up here. GP, what's going on with you?
Yo, what's good?
What's on your mind?
Well, I'll keep this short. I'm gonna hit the gym after I speak my piece.
Oh,
Now
you
I'll
too late.
speak.
I already went to the gym early this morning. I got it in.
I just came from work a few hours ago, so I couldn't go this morning. But like, there's a multitude of things I can address within that situation that y'all reporting on. But I only address one due to the time limit. Now, I'll give a solution and I'll address this based on the scientific basis. I will say that the root and underlying cause of this issue will be that many people out here are using sex to avoid solving their deep rooted issues. And oftentimes, these people have children within these traumatic periods of their lives. And if a child is born and the parents in a state of trauma and internal suffering at the time of birth, most likely that child will inherently have behavior patterns and a personality that reflects that exact state of mental and emotional instability that the parents were in at their time of birth. Now, the absolute only way that it will be guaranteed this could be solved is that if you have to lay up with a bunch of people to handle your deep-rooted trauma, just use protection in the midst of hooking up with any and everybody.
You know what? You said a mouthful with that one, and we talk about that all the time. And abstain from doing that with anybody you don't want to have a child with. Because that, like you said, having a child, you have to be invested in that child's life. You got to bring it up from a baby all the way up. If you like me, until the very end. You can't just drop the children off when they turn 18. My time's up here. Good luck.
Right, I agree. You're right about that. Well, I got one last thing to say before I go. I was hoping that you guys could relay a message to Phil for me. Could y'all tell Phil that if he doesn't intend on working with me or assisting with my channel growth, that he needs to stop ghost watching my videos and quit biting off my editing style and repurposing my talking points and using them on his channel with his own spin?
Okay, GP.
Okay, I'll take it easy. I'm gonna go
Come back and see us again.
All right.
Bye-bye. And I just want, and Biko, before I give it to you, I not just about what he said, but I hear people say that all the time. Oh, people taking my talking points. And GP, I'm not making fun of you. I probably should bring down the bass a little bit. Oh, people are taking my talking points. Oh, I said, what? That ain't no original thought. I think all this stuff we talking about came from, I just woke up and I talked about Black consciousness. That came from me. Like, come on, y'all. Really? I mean, you might have said it a certain way or whatever, but this ain't nothing new. It's like being mad that somebody invented the wheels you driving on. Well, the wheel is always going to be reinvented. It may not be your wheel, but it's a wheel. So there's no original thought. But I think we need to, and GP, I know you're a fairly young man. And, so I'm sure the ideas you got, they didn't germinate from nowhere. Then again, maybe they did. I guarantee if I watch your stuff, I'll probably say, now I know I didn't heard that somewhere before. So I just want to put that out there. Maybe, I'm gonna shut up. Hey, how you doing today? Oh, let me unmute you. There you go.
How you doing?
I'm well. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to share. Here in Georgia, it's interesting how they, I guess after the South here lost the Civil War and Sherman came here and destroyed everything, they found black gold and black bodies and to lock up. So I ended up working for the Department of Corrections for 10 years. So I worked in maximum security prisons and detention centers, probation, the whole gamut. And basically, it all ends up being for men and women's severe prisons and then little mini prison sites. I work down at Georgia State Prison where you're working with prisoners that are not going to get out. And I think you just have to have a type of aura when you work in those places and fairness that you're going to do. I never got attacked once by any prisoner, not once. And these are people that they don't have anything to lose if they're going to attack you. And it's just a matter of just being firm and fair to a lot of them. And a lot of them just wanted to see a black face too, because a lot of times they didn't see black counselors down in South Georgia and that type of thing. I saw frequently just the end result of people not being able to learn to read. I came across that frequently, the embarrassment. Maybe the person might have had dyslexia or they just they were passed on in the system and they just decided, okay, it's too embarrassing for me to be big in school and I'm going to just drop out of school because I didn't learn how to read. Overall, I would say I worked with women in transitional centers. Given the choice, I'd rather work with the men because the men it's kind of, with women, I found that less closure. You have to talk more. So I was less of a talker in during that time. So, but it was interesting to work with them, but I would have rather worked with men. And that's what I ended up working with most of the time. My best moment of working for the Department of Corrections is when I worked like in an administrative office downtown Atlanta. So you would visit, these families would visit you, and they would ask for the young person to be moved and something like that. So this one black family came in and visited me, and I took a look at the young man's file, and it wasn't really anything severe for him to been moved way down to the Florida line in Valdosta somewhere. So what I did was I didn't wait for any approval or anything like that. I just moved him. I moved the kid. Nobody ever found out that I moved him or not. You could move him, but sometimes they want you to check with somebody. I said, hey, I've been working here 10 years. I just moved him. And the family came in later and they just thanked me so much to doing it. It made me feel good to at least to know that these people came to a black person and they actually helped them. And the young man was doing good too. So that was one of my best points of doing something for somebody and it turning out real good.
Yeah, sometimes, like you said, people just need an ally, especially with the system. A lot of times people don't even challenge the system or even ask because they're like, they're gonna say no, I'm not gonna get anywhere. But you'd be very surprised if you just only try, you only ask. You might, I've had, I do a lot of negotiation. I put it that way for people, and I'm like, you just be surprised if you just ask. Just they all. If you don't ask, it's still a no. But yeah, people need especially us in those systems and need advocates. So I'm glad that you were able to do that.
That's all I have. You'll try to have a great evening.
Thank you. Come back and see us again.
All right.
Bye-bye. And yes, DT, oops, let me see. So he says, gotta buy Miss K a coffee. I really like your fair and unbiased commentary. Usually I get dogged out down immediately when I push back against blaming our failures on them. Don't find it productive. Yeah, everything is not there, them folks' fault. Some of it is ours. Some of it is ours. We know what there is to know, and we just continue to ignore it, So, and over here, yeah, we try to be very fair and balanced. Sometimes the razor blades and lemon juice come out, but they try to have that to be a rare occurrence. Black America knows all about that. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but but thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Corey, thank you so much. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you. And see, I saw somebody comments here. Yes, King James. He says, the new housing project that's on the rise in California, one giant prison. Wake up. Yeah. That's why we have to educate ourselves about what's going on. And unfortunately, we don't, but we should. Yes, and thank you, DT. Donovan can see that. Yes, Donovan, he's all right. Donovan wants us to see his comic book, and we're actually about to get out of here. He wants to see his comic book, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars, and he's going to tell us all about it. But you tell him all about it because the next time I come over, he's going to come up missing.
Now, I just wanted to put this in there for you guys. Those of you guys that are into these superhero movies, all of these movies are based off of course, comic books. I grew up on comic books, had a stuttering problem. My aunt turned me on to comic books to make me read, and now I'm an avid reader. For those of you guys that know what this comic book is, this was the first appearance of Spider-Man's black suit from the Secret Wars. This comic book right here, it's not in the greatest shape, but it's near mint. It's worth $400.
It's the original one?
Yeah, this is the original one, but this one's worth $400. Now, if you have one that's almost in mint condition, $2,000. I've seen it up to $2,000. Now, remember, we were talking, anything could have value if you keep it long enough. And so, Dimitri knows I have a lot of comic books, but this was one that was missing in my collection. And I ended up finally paying to put this in my, because somebody took the one I had, and I don't know, that it could have been years ago, but this is a $400 comic book. And so your average logical thinker, and for all you moms out there that have little kids, this is a great way for them to start knowing value of things like coin collecting, comic books, just things like that. Pokemons are really big, things, the simplest things. The problem is, you darn moms, when we grow up and we go to the military, we go off to college, you go in our room and throw away all our valuable stuff. Stop doing that.
Wow, so it sounds like a horrible mom. You crazy, Reggie. Crazy. Brother Donnell says, Queen Demetra, okay, that's some new shoes. Yes, indeed. Indeed. It's gonna come up missing. He's got a few of them that could get me some nice whole new shoe wardrobe. I'm thinking about, doing a B&E over there. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, but yeah, I just want to, just kind of piggyback off what I said to GP. Yeah, there's no original thoughts out there. I mean, some, but for the most part, if we're all about the liberation of Black people, we should all be sounding the same anyway. You know what I mean? And again, GP, I don't know what it is you're saying, but shadow watching is wild. Lurking in. I don't know. And you know what? In all seriousness, that's why I try not to watch a lot of other people's content, because I don't want people to say I'm doing that, But again, if we're about consciousness of Black people, the liberation of Black people, we all sounding the same. All of us. I've learned from the greats, and I'm proud to say that I've learned, fine-tuned it. Brother Donnell helped me out with this, but Farrakhan, when he first went and listened to the messenger, he said that he was thinking, man, he's not speaking very well, for lack of better words. And Honorable Elijah Muhammad was in tune to that. And he says, don't worry about how I'm saying it. You worry about what I'm saying. And then you take it and you can dress it up in that pretty little language that you have. And the rest is history. So the talking points of Farrakhan are the talking points of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The talking points of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are from, Master Farah Muhammad. So, and then some people say, oh, it goes all the way to Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, and all. So all of those people were about Black liberation. So with that said, what I'm saying, Donovan, y'all, and everybody, we gonna sound the same. We're just gonna dress it up a little differently, But it's all love at the end of the day. We're all on the same page. We all care about the message getting out, no matter who gets the message out. But we got to stop all that saltiness. We got a lot of infighting. And I don't know, y'all are TikTok, just really quick. The Hillman Talk. Remember I told you about the university that they started on TikTok, the Hillman Talk University. Sound like they fighting now. How y'all end up fighting about college? Because it sounds like one group of people, they trying to monetize everything. They got a sorority going on, fraternity and all this other stuff. And they mad at this person because they going to have a meet and greet. And it's like, I thought we was trying to educate each other. Now y'all done turned it into something it wasn't supposed to be. And it's like, nah, I'm not interested. I'll just go to Google, YouTube University. Thank you. But nevertheless, anyway, what's today? Tuesday. So I won't be back here tomorrow. I don't think. Walter did say that he wanted to start coming back here and give us some financial game. So we'll hook up with him. But I will come back one day this week. Friday, I'm here. I might try to come back by myself. If Donovan, he's got a lot to do, but Friday for sure. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm just extremely tired. So I'll see y'all later. You guys have a great evening. Peace.